And welcome to the second episode of the Sola San Diego podcast. This podcast is being presented by Sola Genius. Sola San Diego, providing best-in-class resources for our pros' success is our number one priority. That's why we want to highlight our partnership with glossgenius, the business management and payment platform that makes it easy to grow revenue and enhance your client experience. We're excited to share more info and an exciting offer for Sola Genius, the booking and payments app for Sola, and glossgenius specifically made for Sola pros to run and grow their business. glossgenius gives you a beautiful online booking site, powerful marketing tools, and low payment processing rates to empower you to run your full salon in a stylish and smart way while feeling supported at every step, all for $20 a month after a 30-day trial period. We have an offer specifically for our Sola San Diego community, 50% off for 2 months of Sola Genius subscription for any new users. Visit glossgenius.biz/SolaSDPod and enter code SolaSDPod to get started. SolaSDPod is the code. We love glossgenius.
Love it.
Thank you guys for sponsoring the episode. Appreciate it. And we have Miranda on our second episode. How's it going, Miranda? Kind of introducing you for a second here. You do have a studio in our Bird Rock location, which is awesome. It's the first location ever built in San Diego. And in California. Yes. Correct me. And we wanted to bring you on just because, you got a strong social media presence, great business tips, and just overall cool person.
Thank you. Yeah, we're lucky to have her. How long have you been with Sola now?
In San Diego, I've been here about a year and a couple months, but
cool.
I've been with Sola. I started in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
In San Diego in 2018 or somewhere else?
In the Bay Area.
The Bay Area.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Shout out to the Bay Area, the owners.
And you were kind of commuting back and forth for a while, if I remember, right?
Yeah, I had the studio here and there for a little too long.
Yeah.
And then last September, so it'd be about a year now that I fully committed full throttle down in Bird Rock. So.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was hectic. And
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah,
I was
right.
going every 10 days, back and forth between the clients, and I was like, okay.
Exhausted.
This is too much.
Come fly to me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what's the start of your hair journey? How'd you get into doing hair, just in general?
I was joking. I was legally. Just kidding. I feel like it's one of those things people either say they never wanted to do hair, or they're like, oh, I've always had my hands in hair. I always tell my clients oh, I do hair because I was a wrestler, and they're like, what? And just listen to my story. It ties into it, I swear. Because they're like, what does hair have to do with being a nerd jock? But I did wrestle for middle school and high school, and then I got really sick from cutting weight, and I just completely stopped all of my sporty stuff and directed all to art, and then I joined theater. So I was I don't want to be on stage, I'll do the hair and makeup. And then I fell in love with doing that. I always felt I had my hands in it anyways. And then I remember when everybody put their colleges down for high school, I was beauty school, and everybody's what? Beauty school? You didn't do all those science classes to go to beauty school? I'm yeah, I did. And then instantly after high school, I went into beauty school, and then I was I don't want to do theater hair anymore.
Yeah.
I want to do real hair.
Yeah. I want to just deal with one person at a time. And then I instantly just went into 3 different jobs doing hair in all of the different types of fields of hair, barbering. I did weddings, I did extensions, I did color, freelance even. And then I was this is a lot. And then I was I need to slow it down, and joined a salon as a renter, and then left after about a year and a half to 2 years, and then just jumped into my own in the Sola. So. And
you were in the Bay Area, you started there, and then you came down to San Diego, and you had any clients or anything? Just nothing.
Yeah, I just 2020 pushes people to do crazy things.
Yeah.
So I was just I'm moving, and I just took all of my clothes, and I didn't really tell anybody, and I just came down here, and then I was like, I've always wanted to be by the ocean. I always thought I would be in Santa Cruz, but I went a little further down California than I wanted to, or thought I would. And then I found the Red Rock location. There's only one studio available, and I was like, I'll take it. Like, I'm doing it. Let's do it. I didn't even know how I would. I didn't know if I had clients. I didn't know how to even move my stuff down. I had like nothing in my studio. I like looked at pictures like a year ago today, and I was like, okay, the studio's come a long way.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I gave you your first tour of Bird Rock. You have your like mask on, and like
just
you tend to forget people that you've done like tours with when it's just like always that mask on, and it's like it's just cool. It's a cool story.
Well, funny story. I knew why I love Miranda so much when I met her and signed her up. It was obviously 2020. Like, I had just gotten COVID, but I was done with my 2-week quarantine, and it was my first outing, and I was still really not feeling great when I met Miranda.
So groggy.
So I'm like signing her up. I'm like sweating. I'm like apologizing to her. I'm like, I can't answer questions. I don't feel great. Like, and she was so sweet, so nice the whole time. I always just like loved you for that. I went home and like fell asleep right after.
Yeah, right. At least you were up front. You were like, yeah, I just had COVID. I just like, I'm definitely not like positive anymore. I'm just like,
not a great first impression.
It's like that COVID after fog.
You didn't like want to say it, but you like couldn't answer any of the questions, and I was like, I'll just read it. And then we saw each other a couple months later, like without masks, and we were kind of just like, who are you?
Again, not my best time, but she still stuck it out with Sola, so that was good.
The timeline too is like we were still in the COVID phase.
The thick of it.
We didn't know you didn't have any clients before you took this studio.
She was
I was going to tell you.
Yeah. She was so confident.
Yeah, and you were like, you came in with like you always had like the really colorful hair, so I was like, this literally looks like a hairstylist right here, so let's do it.
Like, you can have it. And like, I think there's people like still working in there too. And then I was like, it's okay, I'll be back in a couple months. Like,
and I was like, okay, cool, sounds good.
Yeah. So he mentioned your colorful hair. You always have like really great like green, blue, purple. Like, what's the inspiration behind it? Or is there any, or you just like colorful hair?
I have always had a color in my hair. I remember even in
high
school, I've always had like a peekaboo, or like I would like glue.
What's a peekaboo?
It's like a random spot of color, just like if you move and then you're like, oh, peekaboo. But I don't like. I love like, I'm gonna say normal hair. I love blondes and brunettes and like reds and everything like that on other people.
Okay.
I honestly never thought I would like blue, and I moved to San Diego and I was like, let's just try blue, and it ended up being one of my favorites on me.
I love it.
I've had every single color, and then I've done the split dye. And I like that, but I feel like it's just time for change. But I love like not looking like anybody.
Right.
I walk around and I like, at first when I first moved here, I was like, oh no, like they're gonna recognize me everywhere I go. I'll go into a coffee shop and they'll be like, blue haired girl, or like I think that's forcing me to have friends. Like maybe people will be more like inclined to ask why. I know like a lot of people are like, oh, is that a COVID thing? I'm like, no, it's just a Miranda thing. But a lot of my clients now are like, wait, I can do that? And I'm like, yeah, look. And then almost every single client has like a little bit of like, color in them now. Yeah. And I'm like, ooh,
because
like
you're the inspo.
Rainbow fish.
Right?
Love that. Wait, so again, we had no clue you just moved here. Does anyone else hear that? Sorry.
Yeah. It's gone crazy. It's an old firehouse, so it's usual.
So we had no clue you had no clients. So give us like a little backstory, how that was, and how'd you build your clientele here?
About not having clients. No.
Yeah.
I wasn't like as confident as I probably put myself out to be. I feel like there's a lot of like stuff going on not in the business area of my life, and I was just kind of like, we got to do it. Like, this is it. And I had been marketing unknowingly when I first like got into that very first salon that I was in. I was like on Instagram before Instagram was really kind of like popping off. I was taking videos. I loved to like take videos of the process of things. I always like took before and afters. I always like loved giving my clients the afters, and like they would feel so great. So I feel like I had so much like content previously, like in a portfolio, to where like even if I came down here and I wasn't working, I still was like able to like pretend that I was, or
sure.
just like showcase everything like every single day. So I feel like social media obviously was huge with that. And then I wasn't confident with word of mouth either. So when I moved down, I was like, yeah, I have my own hair studio. Yeah, I actually have two. Okay. Like I did not tell anybody, which I do regret. I wish I would have been a little bit more confident and like, look what I can do, but not, humble.
It's hard. It's tough. It's very tough.
And then I just set a lot of boundaries with my studio in the Bay Area. And I feel like that is what actually pushed me forward to receiving clients down here. I was living a double life and they made excuses when I went up there. Like, oh, I'll just go back to the Bay Area to make my clients. And then I wasn't living the life that I wanted to be creating in San Diego.
Okay.
So then when I went home and I was like, this is it. Like I had 2 renters in my salon up there. I was like, you have 30 days. They left immediately. It was like very clean. And then all my clients, a good half of them flew down within the first few weeks of them needing their stuff done. And then the rest of them, I just gave them a couple of referrals up there, and a lot of them became like family and friends from that, which is really interesting. I feel like stylists just create a community like that anyways. And then I think that me branding myself in like just one niche of just like doing extensions only set me apart being down here too. I just like graduated this like academy, this hair academy that I've been in for so long. So I'm like technically like the first licensed natural beaded row artist in San Diego.
Oh, congratulations.
South
That's
of
awesome.
Laguna. So I'm like, okay,
awesome.
be good, tell people that. And then just like educating instead of trying to get clientele immediately, like building a relationship with people. I like to send like audio messages instead of like text messages, and it makes people feel like, oh my gosh, like she's actually talking to me, like that's her voice, I've never met her before. And then they come in and they're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've known you for 5 years.
Oh,
that's so
awesome.
interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, very, very interesting. I've never heard that before. That's so cool.
So it was also a part of the schooling too, but I feel like just creating connections with people and like having crazy hair and showing your life outside of like just what the salon looks like is like what people are geared to. Like they're like, oh, I followed you for 3 years and I like finally came to you, like, or they come through the area. It's a good vacation spot in San Diego. So people are just coming and going, and they'll find me, and it's like, okay, I have this person, establish this connection with them, and they are like on the other side of the states now. Like,
really?
And even if
they come through.
Yeah. So I think that was the best way to do it. I'm still building, of course, but I think that the boundaries and then like the authenticity and like establishing connections before the appointments actually happen were the biggest things.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
You said you do only extensions, is that correct?
Yeah.
And they're like just colored extension. Do you color the extensions beforehand?
So I like to do like an application process. So before I even talk to them, they just tell me what they need. I do a consultation, and then based off of like the photos they send in and what their hair issues are, we set up a plan, and then most of the time like my extensions are prepped before they come in with like very, very little change, and then the process is like a lot faster and they feel more comfortable because they're not like just waiting on you to be coloring these extensions. But yeah, I do.
That's cool.
It's like it's a fun process. I think people are like, oh, you only do extensions? I'm like, no, I do everything, but I offer it as an extension service.
Gotcha.
So they come in, same consultation, like they'll still get haircuts, they'll still get color done, except we're just adding a lot more hair to it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So I've dealt with people that are going through like postpartum, through chemo, like just life changes in general, and I feel like it's almost like a safety blanket. Like you just kind of hide behind your hair.
Yeah, of course. Makes them feel so good about it. Yeah.
So I've offered extensions only since 2018.
Since 2018.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And how'd you know you were like ready to kind of make a leap and go into a studio on your own? Because it's a big transition. I mean, we talked about the San Diego transition, which is like I mean, that's awesome. That's so crazy. And and it sounded like you kind of dipped your toe in a little bit and had the clients in the Bay Area and then San Diego, kind of building San Diego. And then you were like, no, I just need to like go full in.
Yeah. I feel like going like all in is just like the key. Like if you ever have, 2 feet in both places, you're not going to move anywhere. You're just going to like do these splits at the end of the day. But I loved what I was doing when I was working as a chair renter. I was really young and I didn't understand like boundaries with like other stylists. I didn't understand boundaries with like your boss or anything like that. I just was like, oh, I'm just going to help everybody. And when you help everybody, you're not helping yourself. So it got to the point where I was like, I'm good at what I'm doing. And like, I know you can't tell me I'm not. And I had a lot of people in my life, like, just dim down, like, dim the light, like, you're doing too much. And I listened for a very long time. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm so unhappy. And it was kind of crazy. Like, we're going to get real. I decided to do, like, something against the grain that my salon was, like, believing in. And I got fired, like, in front of a client.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And back then I didn't know that. That's like, no, you can't really do that. But I took all my stuff. I like literally couldn't even blow dry the client. Like she heard everything. And I was just like, I'm so sorry. Like I can't blow dry your hair today. I think I was like 21.
That's
oh my gosh.
I was like,
that's so crushing.
I'm going to give you $50 off. Like I can't blow dry your hair. I'm so sorry. Yeah, thank you. Bye. And then like packed all my stuff up, threw it in my car, and like I literally haven't driven down that street until like a year ago.
Wow.
So
it's like scarring.
it was bad. And then the next day I rented from some random person at another Sola, or that would be the first Sola that I'd ever worked in at that point. And then I went down to SoCal, did a class, came back and was like, I'm changing everything. And then at the same time, I lost the relationship that I was in and the place that I lived. So within like a 4-day period, I lost my job.
Oh my God.
My partner and my home. And I was like, what the heck? And I literally like 6 days later found a studio and opened up and was like, I'm only doing extensions. Like, you can't tell me that I'm not good at what I'm doing. I've been doing it for this long. Like, I've been told no for so long and I'm not letting that happen anymore. I can't, or else I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah.
So that was another like giant leap. I feel like I kind of lost everything, but it was a good thing because I didn't need it. I didn't want those things. They weren't good for me.
Baggage.
Yeah. And like, then I opened it and I saw like how it made other people happy. And I had like a rule in my studio. I was like, we can vent here. We're not gossiping. Like we're not bringing any negative energy. Like this is literally like a safe space for like everybody to grow. Okay. So it was like growth, confidence, empowerment, and beauty was like the main things that I was trying to instill in like that growing company.
Yeah.
It was even really hard for me to like name it after myself too. I was like, that's so vain. I had it on Instagram for like Miranda Artistry.
Yeah.
It was for like my paintings and for like art that I did, and then hair was included in that, and then I just took everything else off and like started posting my hair content. And then I got a lot of people in the beginning, and it took a lot because it was like, okay, boundaries. It's an expensive service. I am young. People are gonna like try to push me around a little bit.
Right.
But I was up there in that area until I had moved down here. So.
Gotcha. And you just like stayed confident in like yourself and like the art that you do, and like, because I know in the hair industry a lot of stylists kind of struggle with like clients coming in and being like, well, I want this price, and it's like, okay, well, you gotta go somewhere else then because my price is this. And
I kind of tell them
sometimes.
like, if you want a discount, I won't be in business anymore. Like, you want your hair done, then this is what it is. And
For
like,
sure.
I understood if people lost their jobs or like something was happening, but I learned really early on like what's happening in other people's life doesn't mean that you can dictate how they spend their wallet. And like, I can listen to you and I can give you amazing hair and you can like work through this and know that you're investing in yourself here, but like, this is my job, like this is my livelihood. I feel like people respected that more after I said that. And then if they didn't, then it was like, oh, okay, thank you so much, like you're welcome to come back, but like, we're not doing your hair today. Like,
Yeah.
sorry. But
Gotta do it.
yeah, confidence is huge. It's just when everybody around you is telling you you can't do it, like you have to just find a way to do it. And if you're constantly learning and like ongoing education, and you're like, even YouTube, like YouTube has everything now. If you're just on YouTube learning about like different textures, or like just business models, or even how to like greet your clients better, like how to do a scalp massage while you're in the shampoo bowl, like the smallest things, you're literally leveling up every single day. And then you're doing better because you're not just sitting there like waiting for things to come to you. You're trying to do something every day. So I feel like that built the confidence as well. It's like, I'm not just sitting here, like I know I'm trying.
Yeah, the educational part. And like YouTube is just free content for people. I mean, it's good to go in person and obviously do that. Did you do any of that? Like go to like hair classes?
I was really afraid. I feel like I went 5 years of being a licensed hairstylist before I actually went to like a big class. But the first class that I went to was the one that I went to in SoCal, and it was a 3-day convention. I remember I was so sick. I like did not have the money to be there. I just knew I had to do it. I had gotten fired 2 days before.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I'm coming back with everything. I remember texting like 80 clients. The salon had taken my clientele too. So then most of them were just like, oh, we're going to stay here. I'm like, okay. Bit my tongue. Looked for more people. If you have any friends in the area and they want extensions, let me know. I'll be back, in 5 days. We'll talk about it. And then, that was like the main class that I went to. I ended up staying with the education company for like 4 years. And that's when I just graduated in that licensee. So it was just like a bunch of ongoing education. I was coming down to SoCal every 6 weeks for classes and to get my hair done. I didn't trust anybody else to do it.
You still get your hair done by the same person?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we've gotten a little more creative now. I used to be blonde, and then we went rose gold, and now we're like every color every 6 weeks.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah, we love it.
yeah. So I feel like now it's more like I want to take more business classes. I want to take more like social speaking classes. Like I want to learn how to like talk better.
You talk great. That's why
Yeah.
we're doing it.
And of course, like color classes, everything's evolving.
Yeah.
I just feel like everybody has a certain technique, and then they put a little spin on it and then decide to have a class. So
For sure.
yeah.
Well, before we close up here, what's like the best like business advice you would give to someone like brand new coming into Sola?
I would say just do it now. Like if you have the idea, say I want to open up in 6 months. Like start telling people now. Like prior to you actually doing it, like start telling people, start educating yourself, and like literally just jump into it, and then it will literally just like open up the path for you. You'll find out what you need to do financially, physically, mentally, like the different opportunities and people will come into your life. If you are hesitant, it's not going to work. Like you just have to like start before you're even ready to do it. I think that is probably the biggest thing that I wish I would have done and listened to myself like 4 years ago.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that too.
Sounds like confidence was huge for you. Got you really far. And yeah, I loved it. I loved your story. Wrestler to hairstylist.
Yeah, wrestler to hairstylist.
/ business owner.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. Appreciate your time, and
Yeah.
hopefully now you're a reoccurring guest. You can come on and chat about other things as well. We'd love to have you back.
Speaking classes. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, hush.
This is your speaking class. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Add it to the list.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Miranda.
Thanks, guys. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and be sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcast. We're trying to come out with these every few weeks, so stay tuned. Thanks.